If you don't remove and rebuke dark, nasty, heavy, negative energy that has been directed towards you in the spiritual, you can bet that it'll show up in the physical. Peace, chosen ones. Happy Owl Wisdom Wednesday. I hope you all are doing well. This is the Mystic Owl speaking, and today I want to talk about spiritual divorce and love spells backfiring. There's been a lot of talk, I want to say over the past 6 or 7 years, of manifesting someone, calling in your specific person, but I don't see a lot of people talking about the weight of a spiritual divorce and the chaos that comes with love spells backfiring, because a lot of people have physical divorces, but some of these people we have to divorce and we're not even married to in the physical. It has to be a spiritual divorce because we're connected. Everything is connected in the spirit, but we're connected to these people spiritually. And it could be difficult having to untangle two frequencies, two energies that have been together, that have been intimate together, especially when one party doesn't want to let go. Because you can be physically separated from someone for years, but if that energetic cord that was attached to both of you in the spirit is still active, it's going to be as if you're still with that person in the physical. You're probably going to still feel their mood, their energies, seeing them in your dreams, wondering why your own personal love life is stagnant, because there's still a spiritual or energetic cord connected to the both of you. And that cord has to be cut in order for you to move on spiritually and physically. Because without this spiritual divorce or cord cutting, as most people like to put it, if you are already connected to someone in the spirit, that is going to block or prevent you from moving on to a new person in the physical, because everything starts in the spirit. And even if you are physically single and you're having a hard time keeping connections, keeping romantic connections, not being in committed relationships, you have to check your own spiritual energy to see if you are still attached to someone spiritually, or even worse, someone is attaching themselves to you spiritually and you don't even know about it. Because if you're feeling like you can't let go and you can't move on from a person, more than likely there is a spiritual dissolution that needs to take place. Once we all realize that some people were only meant to be in our lives for specific seasons, whether that was a season of growth, of learning, lesson, whatever the reason was, it's okay to let go. Especially here and now in 2026, we are entering a new cycle. And a lot of people do not want to go into a new cycle because they haven't completely closed off the last cycle. They still want to keep the energy flowing, keep things going, see if they could spin the block, keep that flame lit. And if you really want to move forward in your life, you have to cut that cord spiritually, because there's someone for everyone. And we are not all on the same journey. We're not all on the same path. So if you've been growing and you've been doing the work, there's someone who has also been growing and who has also been doing the work. And you two should be able to come together. But if they're still connected to someone in the spirit and you're still connected to someone in the spirit, it's going to be damn near impossible for you to for you two to even come together in the physical, because it won't just be a physical connection, it's a spiritual connection. And being in multiple spiritual connections, even if you're only with one person in the physical, is a recipe for disaster. You have to cut the cord, you have to sever ties with your past person if you want a new person, or if you just want to be alone but you want peace and you don't want that energy constantly tugging on yours. This is why you should never do love magic or love spells. You don't need, especially on someone else. If you want to do love magic or a love spell, do it on yourself, for yourself, like solely for the purpose of self love. You don't have to put a spell on someone to like you, or for someone to date you, or for someone to commit to you. That commitment has to be with self first, because I've seen and heard so many stories about love spells going wrong, love spells backfiring, where one person, and it doesn't matter the race or the gender, one person wants the other person to be obsessed with them. Now you're manipulating that person's free will. And when this person wakes up from this spell, this manipulation, because they will, that person is going to be furious. They're going to be upset. They're going to be angry. Instead of being obsessed with you, they might harm you permanently. Like, you never know how a person is going to react after they have an awakening from a deep, dark illusion like a love spell. I like to look at true owl wisdom as being able to see in the dark, to see what other people can't see, especially seeing in the spirit, because everything that happens here in the physical, it has already started in the spiritual. And if you have to hex someone or curse someone or use spell work, or what I like to refer to it as energy manipulation, to get someone to like you, to love you, to commit to you, there are so many other things that should be worked on, including loving yourself. Because when you truly love yourself and trust yourself, you don't care about if another person commits to you or not. You're committed to self. And once you're committed to yourself and you love yourself and you send out that frequency, that's the energy that you're going to get in return. Someone else who loves and trusts themselves, but is also open to loving and trusting another person freely, without interjecting or interrupting or deterring that person's free will. And a lot of times, before you can get into this new divine union, there also has to be a spiritual divorce, a cord cutting of past and old energy. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. Some of these cords that need to be cut spiritually or energetically, like a spiritual divorce, is not just about romantic relationships. That's just the topic I wanted to stick to today. But it's any toxic relationship that you need to cut a cord from, because some people have a toxic parental wound that they need to detach from, that they need a spiritual divorce from in order to enter into a new romantic connection. So it all depends on your situation. But what it ultimately boils down to is the cutting of that energetic cord, especially when it's toxic, especially when it's keeping you stuck in the physical, to the point where if it is romantic, you feel like you can't move on, or you can't love again, or you're too afraid because you've been hurt. There is energy that needs to be cleared, and there is a cord that needs to be cut, severed, in order for you to obtain the type of romantic relationship that you're looking for and that you deserve. Spiritual divorce is a real phenomenon, and it needs to take place, especially with the removal of objects, things in the household, like clothes, jewelry, another person's personal belongings. Once you clear out all of that physical energy, that's the first step. Now, some physical energy can't be cleared out because children are involved, but that doesn't mean you cut the cord to the child. You just cut the cord to the other parent that you're no longer interested in romantically. Because if you don't, I see this all the time on social media. As soon as you get into a new union with someone that you actually like, the child's other parent, the mother or the father, is probably going to be stirring up some drama in your new relationship before it could even really take off. Okay. That's because that connection and that tie to that person in the spirit is still active. And that's an even harder cord cutting or spiritual divorce to get through, because children are involved. But that doesn't mean the connection to the children is severed. It's just the connection to the other parent. And some people have been able to successfully navigate this dynamic, and other people have a really hard time, because there is still a spiritual divorce that needs to take place. If you stayed to the end, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to tune into next week's Our Wisdom Wednesday for more spiritual guidance and insight. And as always, speak life over yourself, take care of yourself, love yourself, trust yourself, and protect yourself. I love you, chosen ones. Peace.